everyone, I'm Miss Tara from Sparkling Memories, a place where you can find information in reference to healthier relationship with food, parents, and yourself. And today's video, we're actually going to talk about temporary people. Why? Because why not? Temporary people are basically people who are in situations that shouldn't be long term, which made it a permanent situation, which means it could get you in trouble on later on. One example of permanent or a temporary situation, I want to get that, is say for instance, you know the person for like 3 weeks, then boom, she's pregnant. Guess what? You just entered into a permanent relationship with a temporary person. The person's temporary because you don't know them that long and you don't know if it's going to turn into something extra, like you are going to get married or you are going to have more children or things are going to get to the point where you want them to be. So that's why temporary situation, because based on how long you know the person, and if you don't know the person long enough, that's considered a temporary situation. Now, the problem with temporary situations is when you get into one, some people don't know how to get out of one, and why it's considered a temporary situation. If you see a person in the evening time, and it's only evening time, chances are you're a booty call, and there is, and more likely in a person's mind, is a temporary situation, which means that's not something that's going to turn into a relationship, which is going to be something more than you really think it is. So that's what's considered temporary. Another, for instance, is say for instance you got a tattoo. You get a tattoo and you have your significant other on your shoulder or on your neck or whatever. Guess what? That's a permanent situation. Yes, you can cover it up, but that is actually a permanent situation because that's what it's meant for when you get a tattoo, right? But the problem is, if you and a person break up, guess what? That's a temporary person in a permanent situation. Not to say that you might not date somebody and you gotta get a tattoo and then y'all instantly gonna break up. No. What I'm saying is, if you know the person for like a week or so, don't go and get yourself tattooed. That's a permanent situation with a temporary person, because temporary means you don't know the person long enough to put a label on it. That's what's considered temporary and not permanent. Permanent relationships are marriage and things to that extent, right? But temporary situation might be something that isn't going to be long term or something that's going to be there for a long time for you, and it's going to be something that's in between. That's why it's considered what it is, which is a temporary situation. Now, as far as when things get to that point, you have to distinguish between if I want to be in something temporary and want to be something permanent. Permanent situations could be, say for instance, you get into a car loan. And the car loan, yes, is for a certain length of time. But the person that you actually did the car loan with is a co-signer. Then you wanna stop talking for whatever reason. You actually co-sign on Monday, and by Wednesday y'all know you can talk in. And then they come back again on Friday, and then y'all good again. That's a temporary person, because guess what? They're not there for a purpose. They're there for their own reasoning. They're only there just based on what they need, and then that's it. They're out. Most people who tend to do that could be narcissists or people who are just basically using you. You don't want someone that's using you. You want someone that's going to grow and advance with you. That's not every situation, but in some situations, it depends on which one you want and which one you don't. Because not every situation needs to be a permanent situation. Another thing with temporary people is they always want one. You want someone that's a give and take. You want people coming into your life and they just take in. You want something that's more than just that. Based on where you're at and what level you're at and why you want to do that. Because for every season, there's a reason, right? And some people come in your life for 2 reasons. Either as a blessing or a lesson. One of the things people don't understand is, yes, they can be a blessing in disguise if you learn from what's going on. Otherwise, it's going to be a lesson. Now, some people are there for temporary reasons and temporary situation, temporary problems, but they can call long term based on what's going on. Like, say for instance, a person is a Bonnie and a Clyde situation. Guess what? You have the police record. You could expunge it all you want, but guess what? That was a permanent situation. Now, if you can't expunge it, then what? Every time you go into somewhere and you need to show your police record, guess what? It's going to be right there in your face. And yes, permanent situation, and it was supposed to be temporary because you didn't expect to be with that person for that length of time. Another permanent situation. Yes, your family is a permanent situation, but some of us can't really help it, and a lot of us can't. We can't give or take. It's just what it is. But you can have permanent family members, and you can literally list them as such, which means you interact with them, but interact with them in small doses. You don't go ahead and go and be friends and y'all go out and do this because they're related to you. No. Temporary people could be your family members too. It's just based on the fact that you don't want to interact with them for a long period of time and constantly talking to them and getting to know them. Why? Because permanent people stay in your life, okay, whether or not it's something, whereas it's good, bad, or between. Temporary people, they leave because that's what they intended to do. They're not intended to be there for a long period of time. Now, as far as when it comes to permanent situation, you say for instance you get a condo and then you and a person move in together and y'all know each other for, I'm going to say, about 2 weeks, because they had some type of situation and you wanted to help out, be a good Samaritan and help the person out, right? You think that's easy? Now you found out the person has different habits that you didn't see before, and guess what, they're already in your house. Then what are you going to do? You can't just put the person out, because guess what, y'all on a lease together and y'all made that permanent situation with the temporary person. So you get yourself in problems, and now you have to find a way to actually solve them and get over them and get to a point where you're comfortable again, because you put a temporary person in a permanent situation. Another example of taking a temporary person and getting into a permanent situation, let's say for instance you've seen the person and you like the person, okay, cool, but you have no intentions of doing something besides getting it on, and that's it. A booty call would be a temporary situation. Now, if you were someone who likes a person and the person is not feeling you the same way, a lot of times people are not going to tell you how they feel. They're going to act like as if, yeah, everything is cool, everything is copacetic, but guess what? They're not that into you. And you, as the end, have to figure that part out. And that's the hard part. There's nothing easy about that. Like, could you tell right off the bat that this person is for you? No. You have to go a couple dates. You have to see them a couple times. You have to get into different things in terms of a conversation. You have to literally have different levels to it, and then you have to put a label on it. It becomes complex, because guess what? You're taking something that was from a temporary situation because you didn't know the person that well. Then it started to advance, and it gets more and more to the point if you want it to be a permanent relationship or a permanent situation, it can be. Now, as far as a temporary person could be anybody. A temporary person tends to be like a narcissist, people who use you, people who actually get into something with you and they're not going to stick around because of whatever reason. Some people are in your life because they're trying to teach you a lesson, and there's a season for everything and a reason for everything. Now, if you get yourself in something like that, it's fine to take yourself out of it and move on. There's nothing wrong with that, because guess what? We're not going to know, and sometimes we do. Sometimes we do know a temporary person when we see it, because you know you ain't trying to take Johnny home to your mother and your grandmother. You know fully well y'all just wanted to do something and that was it, and that's fine. But when you bring them around to your family, guess what? When you and that person are no longer speaking or no longer in good terms, your family is going to always remind you. Remember when Johnny was here? Remember when Johnny was in the house and we met him? What happened to Johnny? And you over here like, oh my God, why are we talking about this person? I don't even want to talk to this person. I don't even talk to this person anymore. But guess what? You brought around your family, which is a permanent, and you got the temporary person in your permanent area. Guess what? A temporary person, a permanent situation. Don't have to ask me about Johnny. If you're not serious about a person, where you bring around your family? Okay, if your family oriented, cool. Get the person over there. Don't bring them into your personal space. Permanent and temporary people are two different things. Temporary people could be anybody that is there for a season and a reason, and more than likely they're there either as a blessing or a lesson. There's only two different types. Now people tend to want to clarify themselves and make it sound like it's something more that it's not. It's not. If you see it, a duck is a duck. If you see a cat, it's a cat. Okay? Don't take a cat and thinking that this is a lion. It's a type of cat, yes, but guess what? When it roars, you know exactly what it was. Don't try to pretend like it was something else. Temporary people, you put them in a permanent situation, could put you in permanent problems. And guess what? Ain't nobody got time for that. Do you have time for that? I would hope not. Till next time, this is Missy Tamara for Sparkling Memories. Bye-bye.